Hey everyone, it's Pixelade here and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I have something to admit to you guys. I have not been looking at the dev chats for Paralives, and I probably should have been. So the Paralives team has been doing these weekly developer chats on their Discord for their Patreon supporters and eventually making them public. And I am just now realizing how much information has been shared in these Q&A sessions. So there are technical breakdowns, lots of system explanations and confirmations about features that haven't really been covered in their main marketing or blog posts over on Patreon. So what I'm gonna do for this video is cover their two most recent from the month of October. As many of you probably are aware at this point, early access is launching in 1 month in December. We are so close to getting our hands on this thing. I'm beyond excited. I can't wait for the day that it comes out in early access. Remember, it will be in early access, and I know a lot of folks are setting the bar pretty high for the Paralives team, but you need to remember, early access for an indie team is a lot different from early access from a AAA studio. So if you're going into this with the expectation that it's going to be like The Sims 4 and have everything that The Sims 4 has after 10 plus years of DLC, that is not the case. So definitely manage your expectations, and remember, it is a smaller team working on this. They are going to be adding more with time. From what they've confirmed, there won't be any paid DLC either, but I really like that we're going to be able to watch this evolve in real time even after early access begins. So without further ado, enough chit-chatting, let's get straight into it, starting with the life goals and the wants system. So one of the things that came up in these chats is the life goals system, and this is definitely worth explaining here in more detail because it is very different from the short-term ones that we've seen in gameplay footage. Now, someone asked Jeremy about how long it took to implement the aspiration system, and his answer was pretty interesting. He said that the initial design and implementation goes really fast, just a matter of hours, but it's the content addition and tweaking afterwards that takes most of the time, and they will still be doing that throughout early access. So to get even more specific, life goals are triggered by multiple factors: skills, relationship labels, careers, time spent in the game, money, how much you've decorated your house, and more. There isn't a hard age limit on when Perez can start getting life goals, but the ones they have currently are locked behind requirements like skill levels, relationships, and also career progression. So you need to be a certain age before these could appear anyway. They did also mention that adding life goals specifically for younger para folks is on their radar. Now, of course, before we go any further into the video, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video and the channel, and that is the one and only Instant Gaming. This is an amazing site where you can go to save a ton of money on your favorite games. It doesn't matter what genre they are. If you're looking for FPS shooters, role-playing, fantasy, simulation titles, they have pretty much everything, and they have some insane deals up to 90% off of your favorite titles. And with my affiliate link below, you will be able to not only save money on your favorite games, but also help support the channel as well, which is always greatly appreciated. And also don't forget, you can enter my monthly giveaway, which a brand new month just started for. It costs nothing to enter, and who knows, you could win. And if you do, you get to choose any game of your choice. My affiliate link for game savings and my giveaway link are down in the description box of this video and every video. The team said their goal is for the potential of each feature to be visible when the game launches in early access. They want more than just the bones of a system because that often wouldn't be enough for players to have a good time. He used the Together Cards system as an example. Having it in the game without enough cards or without anything interesting that the cards can do wouldn't help because people would try it out and might not see the potential. Things might might be unbalanced and there might be content missing, but if someone can try out a feature and think it's neat and want to see what they'll do with it in the future, they'll be pretty happy with that. So the life goals system came from playtester feedback basically. People wanted tasks to direct their gameplay and they wanted more long-term objectives for characters to complete beyond the short-term ones. Since they already had the code foundation from the once system, it wasn't too hard to add this layer on top. Now, it is important to note that there aren't life goals related to dates right now because there's not actually a date system within the game. You can bring your romantic interest somewhere and have it be a date in your own story, but there won't be any sort of UI letting you know that there is a date in progress or something like that. So while there are wants related to romantic interactions and relationships, there is nothing specific about dates that will at least be a part of the game at launch. But they did acknowledge that dates could be really fun to add in the future though. So up next, preteens. This is a pretty significant addition that I don't think has gotten enough attention. So someone asked about the new life stage and Jeremy gave us all of the specifics. So the preteen life stage starts at 9 years old and lasts for 8 in-game days by default. So this is the stage where your para unlocks their vibe, gets a star point, goes through 3 growth spurts. It also allows a few new interactions that earlier life stages couldn't perform. So we now have a full life stage between children and teens. I love that. Someone asked if they could change the naming to something like adult, middle-aged, and senior instead of young adult, adult, and elder. Jeremy said these are the names they're going with at the moment, but if you want to mod the names and change them, you will be able to. Now, another detail about growth, you reach your adult height when you get to the young adult life stage, which makes sense given the name, but it is good to have that confirmed here. Someone asked if paras could shrink when they get older, even just losing an inch or so when they age up to elders. It's not currently in the works. They said someone could probably mod that in, but they're not planning to do it themselves. I definitely think that is something they should look forward to because as folks grow older, they do shrink a little bit. But I also don't think it's something that everybody is going to notice. So I don't think it's a deal breaker, at least in my own opinion. So characters at the teen life stage and up can get rabbit hole jobs, by the way. They don't currently have part-time jobs in the game, just rabbit hole occupations and also school. Jeremy mentioned he thinks it'll be fun to add part-time jobs in the future, and when someone specifically asked about things like babysitting or dog walking for preteens, he acknowledged those would fit well once pets were added. So who knows, maybe we'll see them. So up next is health and sickness. So Anna confirmed there will be sickness in the game at early access. There's a little virus that you can catch at work or school, and you can also get sick from spoiled food. More illnesses might come in the future, but that's just what we have for now at launch. Someone asked about non-life-threatening diseases and whether common colds would be in early access or if that's something they'd think about implementing with an update like seasons. So Anna's response here was pretty straightforward. Yes, there's the virus mechanic for catching something at work or school and the food poisoning from spoiled food. She left it open that more could be added down the line, but no confirmation of anything. So moving on, bills are still in the game unchanged from the initial gameplay reveal. You get them periodically with various things to pay based on item usage. Someone asked if there were any updates or changes to how bills work, and Jeremy said no changes on that front. So we shouldn't have anything different to expect from what we already know there. Pregnancy was also brought up. Someone asked a very detailed question about pregnancy mechanics, specifically about how long it would last, if parents would have cravings, also if the parents' happiness would affect the baby at all. Now, Anna said it's still a work in progress and she can't give a lot of details yet, so we will just have to wait and see what that system looks like when it's more finalized. So for our next section, genetics and character development, there were some specific questions about genetics and how traits are passed down. Someone asked if heterochromia is inherited, and Anna said not at the moment. It also can't randomly occur in children right now. now. Sonya clarified that there are 2 types of heterochromia in the game. We have central and complete, so you'll be able to recreate that in Paramaker if you have it yourself, but it won't pass down genetically. So this led into a really detailed question about occults and hybrid genetics. So someone laid out this whole system for how vampire and mermaid genetics could combine into a siren with percentage chances and everything. So Anna's response was that it's hard to say how they would deal with future occults because they aren't planned right now. So it would be very hypothetical. However, she did explain what's possible with modding. She said you can mod in completely new species in the game right now with their own sets of genetic rules, but there's not really any cross-species possibilities yet. You could still manage to mod something similar by doing a single occult species that has dominant and recessive genetic traits. You could create genetic rules for every one of your wanted occult traits. Like you could have vampire fangs be dominant over regular teeth, so a child of a vampire and something else would have more chance to have fangs, or potentially the opposite. Same would go with modded mermaid tails or fairy wings. You could also create rules for skin colors or any other visual trait. Now, in theory, you could also mod in your own set of animations and needs to go with that, and you can restrict those to just one type of character. So even though occults aren't in the game and aren't planned, the modding framework is apparently flexible enough that people could build pretty complex genetic systems if they wanted to. Now, on the build side of things, someone asked if there would be a difference in lot or house prices as lots get closer to the town center. Jeremy said not currently. The concept of town areas having lot value multipliers isn't something they have in the game, but he likes the idea. So you never know, we could see that in the future too. So bunk beds came up because apparently someone asked about them 3 years ago and wanted to know if they're going to be part of early access. Chloe said they won't be in early access because there are technical challenges and animations that need to be done before they can be functional. They have one that does work with the resizing system, the one that was showcased a while ago, but they won't make it available for now since it's not functional beyond that. So bunk beds are confirmed, just not happening at launch. Now, looking even smaller at cribs, they aren't resizable at the moment, and you can only put 1 baby in them. Someone asked if you could extend the cribs and place more than 1 baby, and Chloe confirmed that's not possible right now. There was an interesting question about whether multiple worlds could exist in a single save, allowing you to move between them, or if it'll be a 1 world per save situation. Jeremy said he's not sure. Currently, you can only have 1 town per save, but he doesn't think it's a limitation of their system. They could have multiple towns in the same save, he thinks, but they never tried it, so it's hard to say for sure. He said they'll look into it someday. So real estate still works the same way it did in a previous video we saw. When you start the game, you can buy an already built house or an empty lot, and there are some empty plots in town. Then you go from there. So nothing's really changed on the buying a lot side of things. Someone asked about the teleportation feature, whether there's a way to teleport Perez from one place to another on the map instead of waiting for them to go across the whole thing. And Jeremy said there's a non-official way via some keyboard shortcuts currently in the game, but he's not sure if it'll stay a development feature or if they'll allow it in the final build somehow. Now, for people interested in modding, there was a question about the ideal size for uploading your own images for custom art or tattoos. Chloe said they have some guidance internally for performance, and they'll most likely release those details when they release their modding guides. She said she wouldn't worry too much about it if you're just importing your own art, maybe if you want something of a bit higher quality. She mentioned they're usually around an average of 1024 by 1024 for textures, but that's because they have thousands of items. For custom imports, you definitely have a lot more flexibility with that. Now for Paramaker and character customization, someone asked about the 3 dots option next to the gender selector. So Jeremy said this opens an advanced menu where you can select things like whether your character can get pregnant or can get others pregnant. So there's more granular control over that than just male, female, or non-binary. Some clothing and accessory items are going to be age locked, while things like high heels or lacy dresses could technically be equipped on every character sharing the same model. Anything but babies and toddlers, they feel like very young children wearing those would be strange. So they only appear at certain life stages. Same thing for lipstick or tattoos. Jeremy mentioned this when someone asked about age restrictions on clothing. And lastly, Chloe confirmed there are some vintage style items in the game at the moment, but they plan on adding more during and after the early access release. So if you're into that aesthetic, there will be tons more coming, so don't be too disappointed. Now for our last section, which is all about town life and townie details, there was a question about how many townies will live in the town at launch. Jeremy said they're not ready to commit to any number at this moment. He can say that there are currently 70 characters in the save file, but most of these are not official townies yet, so we don't know exactly how populated the town will feel, but there's definitely a base population being worked on. Next, someone asked if gameplay systems will encourage players to explore the town and do stuff in it, specifically mentioning the town plaza and its shops. Like, will Paras have ones linked to those places when they're near them, such as maybe wanting to go to a specific store? And Jeremy said yes. Having gameplay systems encourage players to explore the town and do stuff in it is something they're very much looking into. So child drawings can't be customized right now. Someone asked if you can upload your own drawings for child Paras to do, like the picture decorations where you can upload your own files. Jeremy said that doesn't seem to be possible. The item currently used during the animation is a prop and doesn't result in a drawing you can move around or place somewhere. He said this could be a neat addition later on though. So there is a lot to digest here with this. A lot was talked about, a lot was revealed. I'm really curious to see more gameplay and also just see more on the preteens we're hearing about here. I'm definitely curious on, how they're going to further expand on the whole health and sickness thing. When reading all of that, my first thought was thinking to the healthcare redux mod for The Sims 4. Like, I'm happy we're getting anything like this at all in the initial launch, and the possibilities for what they could expand this into really are endless. I'm also interested to see where the modding situation goes. I think the framework surrounding all of that sounds really robust for people who want to create custom content, but I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think about all of this. Which of these systems are you most excited to try out when early access launches next month? Are you someone who's interested in the modding possibilities, or are you more focused on the core gameplay system side? Definitely let me know below. Also, let me know if you're looking forward to Paralives, if you're going to be picking this up when it launches. I know I will. I'm going to have so much Paralives content coming this month, leading up to the release, and of course next month when early access begins. But for now, that is all from me. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys, and happy life simming.